Embark on your journey, the path you must take. Though hate may surround you, it's not your fate to forsake. Co-creating your destiny in the dance of time. The guiding light within you ignites the sublime. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light, shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. In the depths of your being, the truth resides. Embrace your power, let your spirit rise. With every step forward, you transcend the expanded conscious community we commend. Through trials and triumphs, your soul evolves in the symphony of life, where every note resolves. Listen to the whispers of your inner voice. In unity and love, let your heart rejoice. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light, shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light, shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. As we gather together in this sacred space, embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way in unlocking potential day by day. One faith, embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way, unlocking potential day by day.
Hey, hey, hey. I hope y'all out there liking and sharing, loving yourself. I really appreciate it. And thank you for tapping in and tuning in to Beyond Belief, expanding your consciousness live. Beyond Belief. Today we will talk about why you are here in a overarching concept of discovering your divine authentic self. You've heard of authentic self, but the divine authentic self is something that is a little bit deeper than just figuring out who you authentically are on this planet and what you are to do in this reality. And when we begin to understand, we can tap in and tune in to something beyond what we've been told, although it has been told, just not in the major spaces of life when it comes to spirituality. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, beautiful evening. And I'd like to see who's on, who's up, who's on, what's going on. Make sure you like and share this post. Brother Christopher, I appreciate you. You're always tapping in. Love you so much, brother. Lynn, you are the best. You're the best. I know we say a lot of people are the best, but I must say that Lynn's hard to beat. Miss Dolores, it's good to see you. Elisa. Yes, yes. And Holly. And if there's anyone else out there who would like to comment, please comment. And I know some people will end up coming into this stream a little later. And Ashara, all right. Yes, yes. Make sure you liking and sharing. And we're here on this beautiful Thursday evening. And yeah. Mother Gwen's in the room. Thank you, Mother Gwen. So, as you are, wherever you are, I know some people turn on their TV, flip the channel up on their TV so you can sit back and relax and get on your iPad so you can comment on Facebook. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for your time. I appreciate you for giving me time, but also giving yourself time, because my focus is really on the audience. It's really on you. It's really on what we are experiencing and what we are going through in this day and this life. And thank you, Brother Don Jackson, everybody. Brother Don Jackson has entered the building, the virtual building. Yesterday, I had a conversation with a gentleman introduced to me by Miss Dolores. We're scheduling to have him on next week. What a wonderful person. Philip Chalk is his name. And he does have another name that he got from his teaching, not teaching, but from his teacher. He learned the Kemet and many other things. Beautiful soul. And boy, that conversation was so powerful. It's amazing. I'm here to tell you, in this expanded conscious community, I'm here to tell you guys that as we press forward and we keep going and we keep learning, we keep moving, there's a frequency in this world. We are tapped in and tuned into frequencies. Some frequencies you can't really see the frequencies, but you can see the effects. You can hear the effects. The Federal Communication, FCC, that is controlled by the United States government, the Federal Communication Commission, I believe, the FCC. That is an organization that controls invisible to our eye frequencies, spectrum, that allow us to transmit information. There it is. Miss Dolores put it up there. Thank you, Miss Dolores. But we have the ability, like, follow me. I want you to follow me. We have the ability to transmit, receive, deliver information, signal, my signal of what I am doing right now is wirelessly transmitting from my laptop computer to a Wi-Fi unit, one upstairs, one downstairs. And it's going through the internet. And the internet, of course, is connected on down the line, but it still will eventually hit satellites. It still will have communication. One of the things that came up with Brother Chalk, is the fact that he's 70 years young. And a lot of times we hear about technology, and we can have a love-hate relationship, or sometime a deep fear when it comes to things like technology. Understandably so. Sometimes I wonder why, but at the same time, I think it has more to do with the fear behind the individual people that can abuse such thing. And when you think about a person abusing you, it can create a fear. It can create a barrier, misunderstanding. But you and I know that over the last 100 years, we have been manipulated at levels that you cannot imagine compared to the levels we are now. Because the thing about the internet is the internet shares the information. And the only way you can really, hopefully, understand the information that's being shared is that you can have the ability to have what we call is critical thinking, your ability to hear, your ability to listen, and your ability to comprehend. We as a people have come into a place where our ability to connect and comprehend and grasp what is really going on is clouded and has been clouded by our inability to know whether something is real or not. A piece, what we call is reality. These are nothing new. It's just over the last 100 years, although this has been happening thousands of years, and that are propagandas, props that have an agenda. How do we judge? How do we understand? How do we connect? The thing about mass media is it's mass and it's pushing it out. And the thing is if you have the ability to deconstruct What we would be saying is deprogram or reprogram your mind. If you have the ability to reprogram your mind to remember what you came here for, to remember who you really are. This coming Tuesday, I have this talk, more general to a general public. And there's a few things that I would like to rehearse or to discuss or to confer. Dr. Miles Monroe, who I had the privilege of being around, one time I heard him come to a conference and he said, "We're here at this conference. And when you come to a conference, evidently you coming to confer something. What are we here to confer?" A lot of times people go to conventions and conferences and things of that nature, and they're not doing anything but reiterating over and over and over the same things that they said. So it becomes nothing but a business transaction just to get you to actually come together and hold hands and sing kumbaya, and that there's no level of transformation. Y'all been doing the same thing at y'all's events for the past 50, 100 plus years, and there's no true transformation. By the time you finish this, and by the time I'm done, you should have a more clearer understanding on your life. And when I say clearer understanding on your life, I'm talking about your mind, your body, and your spirit over the next 45 minutes. I took notes this time as I'm going deeper with a lot of things, and this is old school. Old school. But as you read into the main topic there, I said, why are you here? You ever, of course, we have all asked that question. I believe how they instituted the spirit and they gave that, and essentially the church was able to take anything spiritual where science and physics and those things was material, and the institutions of education was able to take those things and they separated. And now you are witnessing in this era and in this time the convergence more than ever, the convergence of spirituality and science be proven, but also implemented, but also you can take advantage of it, and you're witnessing it through things like artificial intelligence. But the lie is, it is not artificial. There's nothing artificial about intelligence. It's systems that are governed by individual people, controlled by people, and that machine is sucking out and receiving and downloading the information from you and me and organizing it in a way so it can redistribute that information back to you. And I'm here to tell you folks right now, the playing field is probably a little bit more fair than it will ever be. The playing field is a little bit more fair than it will ever be. So as you are, as these machines and these things are out there doing, if you learn how to take advantage of these things, in other words, I want to be able to use these things to help empower me. I want to use these things so I can actually maybe heal myself, maybe go through some level of healing my traumas and healing the things that I've experienced, and being able to discover and learn and understand what I've been through or what my ancestors have been through. It's one thing to go within. It's a beautiful thing to learn how to do that. But it's another thing whenever I can get on this device here and I can begin to question and ask these systems questions about the transatlantic slave business industry. America, as they say, was built essentially capitalism. It was built on the business of human labor, intellectual intelligence. It was amazing for them to go and pick up these Africans who have had thousands of years of experience when it comes to cultivating the land and beginning to use the sun and use the land and conjure up spirit. Conjure up the spirit to get the land to perform. You come from, y'all ain't hearing me? You come from a lineage of people that was able to tap in, tune into spirit, tap in and tune into understanding through the history, and yet survive the most treacherous thing possible within human history, and that's being stuck at the bottom of a boat for over a month. Come on, CeeLo. That's my childhood best friend, Cortland. Thank you, sir. I love it. You drop them comments that I'm going to have to bring him on. But this country was essentially built on free labor. And if you better think twice. You better think twice if you don't think, understand, or know that the mindset or the ideologies or the systems that actually built that, if it all of a sudden just went away, it's just energy can't be destroyed. It just changes forms. Everyone is a slave today. You're a slave to the system. You're a slave to things that you are completely unconscious of. But why are you here today? Why are you here right now at this moment? Why are you here in 2025 and not 1925? Not 2055, not 2525. Our brains can't even imagine. We can't imagine 1,000 years from this moment, but we sure can imagine 2,500 years from this moment and let everybody know that we know what happened 2,500 years ago when this guy, I guess they would really pronounce his name Yeshua, translated to Jesus, had an awakening, I guess, from the time that he was 12 years old, and he began to speak in an enlightened way. And from the time he was 12 and till he was 33. Since the book doesn't say it, we don't talk about it. At least in the Western world. Because in the Eastern world, they do. There's a whole lot more than what we have been programmed to. But why are you here in this moment? Bishop Carlton Pearson used to say that you requested in some other form to be here now at this moment. To better phrase that question, you say, why are you here? Is what I say. That is me asking you. The other thing is to say is, why are we here? We, us, all of us together at this moment and at this time. And when you really get down to business, you say, why am I here? Why am I here at this moment? What happens when you can understand, when you can say, why am I here? And it doesn't, because here's the thing, I hit you with different ways of understanding here. Here could mean physically right now in my house, I am here. Physically, you are where you are. Why am I here spiritually? Could mean in this essence, in this era, what is it that I could, why is it that the presence of who I am did not formulate sometime before this? Or is it that I just don't remember that time? So from the spiritual aspects of asking why you're here versus the physical aspects of why am I here, because the physical aspects of why am I here, I'm here physically in this space and position is because I planned it. Because I said at 8:30 p.m. Central, I'm going to be on live, on YouTube, on Facebook, and I want you to come. I want you to participate. I want you to come here and let's confer. Let's exchange energy. Let's ask these questions. Once again, after this talk, you might be a little bit more confused. You might be open or enlightened. But I guarantee you, you'll be that much closer to feeling the presence of why you are here. Yes, I will be first open to let you know that I speak from knowledge, I speak from practice, and I speak from contemplation after spending most of my life in and around the institution of the church, going to Christian schools, which is one of the most powerful things on the face of the planet, and specifically here in America. But a lot of times we don't discuss that thing. I won't get too deep into that, but discussing religion is one of the most controversial things that you can do in America, especially at this time. And pretty much everyone in America right now, and I would say in the world, have had some kind of connection or interaction with that thing they call the church, specifically Christianity, with there's 2.5 billion people that are claiming to be some form of Christian. That also includes the Roman Catholic Church in the world, who is 1.5, 1.3 billion that carry that label of Roman Catholicism. A lot of times they want to say that's original. That's where Apostle Paul come from. But really, it's original to the Western world. But it's not original to the world. The concepts behind this character they call Yeshua. It's just we have a lot of money and power, and especially here in this country. So therefore, we use those things. America specifically uses and has used that tool in many different ways to try to make us have sense or make meaning to the world. But ultimately, it drives us into a world within a world within a world. You got the world of the Mormons and the world of the Catholics, the world of the Pentecostals and all this, let alone when it comes to other Abrahamic faiths, which have a lot of similarities in being right and everyone else being wrong. And you look at your Eastern practices, your Buddhist and your Hindu, and the variations within those sectors may have their own dogma, but for the most part, those institutions of belief have more to do with going within. And I would tell you that so does some of the original text and the original foundations of the words of Jesus had more to do with going within as he spoke in parables and allegories and was speaking in ways that were for the people at that time, for the people at those moments. And he never wrote it. Somebody else said that he said it, and we are still here yet believing it, and we just go with it. It is what it is, folks. You want to hear the truth? It is a problem when you begin to ask the question, because that's where we begin to get in trouble, is when you begin to ask the question, and then that question leads to other questions, and then that leads to answers that leads to other answers that the answers need explained, and then that leads to other questions until the priest comes in and says, you haven't studied, or you don't really know, or they used to have the text behind closed doors. The text used to not be available to everyone. You used to have the priest, and the priest would use the text to deliver the message to you and let you know. Until Martin Luther comes along within the Western world with the 95th thesis. And it says, hey, there's too much corruption. There's too much going on. There's too many problems with corruption. And therefore, I believe that's when we begin the Protestant church. Now we have the Roman Catholic and the Protestants as people that are considered followers of this faith. But there's movement within the faith. There's changes within the faith. There's changes within us. They say, as the scripture says, Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. But the thing is you not. That may be, but you're not. And it just sounds really cool to say. You're wrong most of the time. I'm probably wrong. I just go with what I am at that moment. And if I need to shift later, I'll shift later. But here we are. One question that I want to know And I'm really obvious because we talk about this character. We can't imagine 2,000 years into the future because they want Jesus to come back because they don't want to die mostly. But we sure can talk to you about everything that happened eons ago, 2,500 years ago. We know exactly, and then we're programmed with that. We got to deprogram ourselves from that, because if you don't deprogram yourself from that, and not only that, over the last 100 years, we have to deprogram racism and white supremacy. That's a whole nother conversation. But I just want to know, did Jesus poot? Yeah, P-O-O-T. You don't hear nothing about that. So I grew up, as y'all already know, I grew up in the Black church, and this is not to be confused with the church. That's a lot of confusion that's going on between, like, you can't say the Black church. The Black church was birthed or born out of segregation. And then the Western Christianity in its form in the King James was given essentially to Black people. A lot of Black people in the Black church want to fight and say Black people had Christianity, but they did not have what we call Christianity today. It would be way more Western and way more possibly Orthodox and more what we call as Ethiopian, which is quite different. But I just still ask the question, as I say, I grew up in the Black church. I grew up in the Black church, and we said we would have call and response. Everybody know that. And I just want you to, in your house right now, because I know you can't, but if you want to, in the chat, you can say Jesus pooted. That'll get you going. That'll mess up your head because of the fact that I want to normalize to understand that was there a normalcy? Was it always this superhero? But I just want to know. And I want you to say, Jesus pooed it. We know he did if he was a man and he was here. Kind of an oxymoron. So many different stories about that person that they call Jesus, but we know right now that the one who has God is the church that has the most people and the church that has the most money. They're the ones that have the ability to govern and to create and to organize and to put forth scriptures, or they put forth the sacred text for their people. And once you organize and you put that all together, all of a sudden you can have your God and whatever it is. Understand that. Because I know one thing. Jesus had to take a shift from what everybody else was. He took a shift from the way everyone else believed. And we have put a whole lot of time in trying to figure that out. We put a whole lot of time trying to make sure we get it right. We put a whole lot of time telling people that all of a sudden I got Jesus and it changed my life. Make it make sense. Because I don't really think you can get Jesus. What I think you can get is I think you can get a relationship with an organization, and that organization that has the music, that has everything else, that has all these different things. You take that on, then you take on the stories, and you take all these things, and you just start applying various things to your life, and you may get some positive results. You may get it, but it's not necessarily you just taking that on and you miraculously, I'm sorry. I mean, forgive me if you don't feel that way. I mean, I understand. But I'm just here to tell you there's something within you beyond what they have told you. It's just uncomfortable when you say it. It's uncomfortable when people bring it public. I'm not denying your lived experience. I'm not denying that any of that happened. I'm just questioning whether what we've been told all these years is something that we are emotionally just carrying on with. But when we really start looking for results in our lives, we've been doing this for a long time, and look at the world. Do you see more love? Do you see more peace, especially from the mouths of the people that talking about what that character and what that belief system is about for them? All I see is more bombs and people not eating. Okay. All right, enough of that. I want to make sure I get the things that are very hard to discuss. And I've covered some of them, and religion is one of them. And we all know the next one is politics. Politics. It's amazing what information does, whether right or wrong, and who it comes from. I grew up in a smaller town, and as I grew up, it was not a strongly political town, although I'm pretty sure there may have been some politics. I don't believe America was as strongly political 40 years ago, 30 years ago, although it may had its areas. Of course, here I'm in the what we call as the mid-south, not the Midwest. Oklahoma would be the mid-south. But I grew up more midwestern, around these neck of the woods in Texas and Louisiana. And as you go into the deep south, I'm pretty sure in the south you had a lot over the history, you've had a lot more of organizations and the church, the Southern Baptists, being connected to politics. And to this day, one of the toughest things that we can have a discussion or conversation about is religion and politics. But I went to my 30th high school reunion last weekend, I believe, or the weekend before. The weekend before. And supposedly there was people that didn't show up because some people got into some conversations over the years online. And the thing is we had one at my 20 year. And at my 20 year, because at my school and where we went, we had various things that could happen and would happen, but the politics weren't really in your face. They weren't heavy. People were working class people. Everybody came to the same school for the most part. And you just went there and you had friends that could be all across, the parents could be across the aisle. And at times it wasn't a question. And for the ones that had the question, you would know. But here it is. We move in 20 years, we have 40 something people show up. And I know that it may change and lives change as you get older. But at my 30 year, there was a lot of people that didn't show up or didn't want to come. And it's amazing to me as I bring that up and as we discover, who are you? And the systems and the institutions that are blasting out messages that you don't really have to fully pay attention to, You can vote and not pay that much attention to it, and it's still going to do the same thing. You can vote and pay attention to whatever you want, but you can get and you can start focusing on yourself. And you know what is going to change if you focus on it versus you focus on yourself. And what's going to happen is if you focus on it, it's going to do what it's been doing over the last 1,000 years. That's the purpose. You could be anywhere in the world. You could be anywhere at this moment in time, y'all. But you are here right now. Listen to me. You made the choice and you agreed that you're going to be right there at your home. And you're going to pop this on. We can get into things that deal with physics, and we can get into things that deal what we call as the quantum realm. We can deal with things that are talking about reality. We could deal with the principles and spiritual principles that have been taught over the centuries. There are a lot of things, as you guys may be aware, that are hidden. They're called occult. OCCULT. It's not, the thing is we get cult, a cult, or ACULT, which is part of CULTURE. As Bishop would say, we're all in a cult. Sure. A lot of times in the Black American community, they will say, it's the culture. It's the culture. One guy came online as a pastor or something. He said, Black people can join my church, but they got to deny Black culture. What is Black culture? What is white culture? You can formulate and make all that up and call it what it is, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. It doesn't mean that what you're talking about is true. That's something that you have taken and the propaganda has formulated to make you believe that is all one group when we're all one people in essence. But the occult, that is the hidden knowledge, the understanding, the divine understanding, the connections, almost the words of Jesus being implemented, the words of Jesus unfiltered. See, the King James is being filtered. We are now in the age of AI, and I would consider that almost what we would say a new age, not to be confused with Alice Bailey's books, New Age philosophy, theosophy, society, which has a lot of beautiful understandings in text as you read it within the context of understanding. And you don't have to necessarily fear words. They want you to fear words because the words could be misunderstood, or what we say, taken out of context. When people that are screaming the words are taken out of context are the people that are the very people that use words to take people's word out of context. Why do they do that? Because they want to confuse your reality. Your reality is what has been questioned. Because when I ask, why are you here? That's tapping and tuning into is what is my reality in which I'm living, where I call here? I call this here. What am I calling here? Am I calling here in my seat, or am I calling here in my mind and in my finances? Am I calling here as in my success? Am I calling here as in what I do for a living? Like, what are my purpose? What is purpose? What is your purpose? So that's a whole rabbit trail. That's a whole dichotomy you can actually explore. The reason why we ask the question, why are you here? The reason why you ask that question is because of time. Because of time. Because outside of space time, outside of this body, outside of the fact that you are here, it wouldn't matter as you enter into a space, excuse me, as if you enter into a space outside of time in consciousness. It's important to know why you are here for you in the different level. Why am I here at my house? I'm here at my house because it's going to get late and I'm going to go to bed. That's why I'm here physically. Why am I here in this moment having this conversation with you? Doing this is because this has a lot to do with my purposes. This has a lot to do with what I'm connected to, what I'm feeling, what I'm receiving, what I am exporting. It's important to pay attention to what are you importing. It's important to know why you're here because of, and you know that has to do with time, but it's important to know how you feel. As I ask the question why I'm here, I'm also asking the question, how do you feel about why you're here? How do you feel about why you are here in this moment? Why are you here listening to this text? I mean, to this conversation? Cortland says, and how much will it cost to buy you out of buying into the reality that originally bought you? Absolutely. For the person that I took over I worked with on that show, Expanded Consciousness, it cost him everything. Cost him everything. Because that deconstructing from what we've been told is defying the system and saying, I want to ask a question. And they're like, are you denying Jesus? Are you denying XYZ? Muhammad? The Torah? Because a lot of other people don't really, a lot of other faiths, some of them, they don't really care per se. It can cost a lot. I told someone recently, in our country, and depending on where you live, it's in your best interest to just be a Christian, regardless of what you want to do, based on the way the system works, based on the way the institutions and everything's set up. Now, if you are a professional like a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, they would just use you for your credentials. But one of the things I will tell you is it's important to know internally mind, and spirit outside of body. Because that's the body of me being here is one thing. But as my mind is here and my spirit is here, that's a complete different thing. That's where you want to focus. That's where you want to get in touch with. Because physically, there's another reason why you are here. You're here physically because your mama and daddy. Your mama and daddy got touchy and got a little touchy. And they come together and you were birthed. One thing that I thought about is it's really interesting how the intimacy and the connection that and the feeling you get from a partner in being in a space here physically, your partner, you have a connection with a partner that can have sex and have a kid. But then that kid you can have a connection with. You could touch that kid, you could cradle that kid, you could love that kid. And the same chemicals that are produced from the love of the kid, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, those same chemicals are that happen when you hold your baby, can happen when you connect to your spouse. But there's something else that changes within the vibration and frequency between your spouse and your baby. You could feel the difference in this both intimate relationship, but you could feel the difference in what happens with the two people. What does that mean when we have those feelings, those emotions, and we connect to those feelings and emotions? But there's something about us. There's something about us that switches and changes when it comes to our kid versus when it comes to our spouse. We switch roles. We begin to understand this is daddy, Malachi. This is daddy. This is husband. Right? You go to a job and all of a sudden you become that person. Right? We call it, sometimes we have code switching. If I go with my friends, I've learned, and you'll learn how to switch, code switch. We've been friends forever. If I've been friends forever and there's somebody black that I've known, I'm probably going to drop all kind of niggas and all kind of other stuff that you may not want to hear with, depending on who that person is, because we got some history, right? That we have a relationship that's different. They know me and they see me as who I am in that context. I go to work, code switch. I become this person. What's the expectation of who I am? What I'm to do? You're a professional, right? That's who you're going to be in that context. You shape that person. This person is this person's that, this person's that, and it's nothing wrong with it. That's a good thing. What happens though if you begin to deconstruct your reality and you begin to receive and you begin to understand that there is more? You begin to understand that the system that's in place and the programming that is out there, the programming that has been happening, is designed to keep us at bay. It's designed to keep us cogs in the wheel. Remember, I told you everyone's like a slave. It's different now. I heard a gentleman Beautiful. I heard a gentleman, and I love, man, this guy, I just love to hear talk. And he had a beautiful thing to, he had a really beautiful thing to say. Um, and hopefully I can get it, to play. And I'm gonna have to play it a different way. And he basically, he was talking about, oh man, I want to be able to play that video. He was talking about the new upcoming mayor of New York. And the mayor of New York is a born Muslim gentleman. And of course, he doesn't have a huge background. He doesn't come from a lot in terms of when it comes to New York. And I want you to think about this, because one is, as you discover, and when we talked about the conversation about who we are or who you are and the importance of understanding this guy from New York, especially with the way life is today, the way we are, it's like the way I see life today, right? And what we are experiencing. Because one of the things is you discovering more about who you are is not necessarily and it probably hasn't been. It's not the goal. It's not the goal for you to discover who you are, for you to discover that you are capable of becoming beyond belief. I promise you. You're capable of doing things that have not, that seem impossible. But we have to learn to break free. We have to learn to what we call is deconstruct. That is realizing and understanding what is supposed to be true and ends up, man, that thing is, I was about to show you, that thing is doing its own thing and kind of locking up. But anyways, this gentleman that won the mayoralship in New York. Now, listen, I want you to know, and I want you to have a bit of hope in the beauty of Donald Trump and the exposure of all that it is, and what has been here in the world, in America. Because before Donald Trump, what we had wasn't perfect, and it still had its flaws, right? And I'm not just talking politically, I'm talking about our ability to return to love, right? And I'm using the word return to love, not as though I'm talking about return to an era or time in America or era or time since we've been here on the planet in returning to love. I'm talking about returning to love in terms of where we come, okay? Returning to love and where we come. We are witnessing and experiencing a time in our world that will be noted, and you can take a part. You are here to take a part of the transition and transformation that is on the planet. Period. The guy that won in New York was on bicycles. around New York, knocking on doors, was being his authentic self. And I would go as far as to say the divine authentic self. Because do you know that they spent $25 million. $25 million to actually come against him. This system is used to buying power. And when it buys power, it buys minds. It buys people's ability to think. And one thing about New York that we all should know is New York is one of the first developed major metropolitan cities on this continent, USA. It is very foundational to the commerce of the Americas. Donald Trump got his start and his foundation of who he is from his father, who was a real estate mogul, if you will, in New York. This man that won this has openly said he is a socialist, but socialism is all over our country. We just don't call it that. It just functions the way it does. And one of the things is SNAP benefits. It's a form of socialism. And if you don't want it, if we want to get away with it, all we got to do is pay the people. See if it works. Give it a shot. Another conversation. I'm here to let you know that your divine, authentic self, is that thing that you feel when you really feel good and nobody else is around to thank you, to congratulate you, but you feel good about what you accomplished and what you did for yourself. That is leaning into something authentically you. That authentic self is when you know that you need to speak out about something and it's returning to love of the people. When we realize it's not about us, individual, but it's about us holistically. It's about all animals, trees, all that included. And that is the divine. And when we be authentic about that, it doesn't return and it makes it not about us, but it's about how we feel, how other people feel, and about the connection that we can have in oneness, which can be very hard. It can be very difficult. But the thing is if you understand this, more than anything. You didn't come to this space with me and not click on the buttons that it takes to get here. You clicked on the buttons and you got here. You know what I talk about. You know what space and energy in which I speak. And for me, that is a place of contemplation. That is a place of asking questions. That is a place of understanding. And I'm here to tell you, be okay no matter the situation where you are today, mentally, physically, and spiritually. How do you be okay? Let it go. Let it go. And then be proactive on your choices as you ask the questions and then question those questions. We all need each other. Do we not? We don't know it. There are some people that we probably can not want to have around as much, but that has to do with the fact that they don't understand that we need each other. They think that we need them. And they think that they need them, and then they think that we need them. And they don't care about us as a whole. Don't let this moment slip by for you to have the opportunity and take advantage of the consciousness that is available more than ever. The fear, the doubt, the shame and guilt for you asking questions, and some people letting go. I hear people and they speak a lot of their different religious messages, and a lot of those religious messages are not designed for them to feel a certain way. A lot of those messages are not really connecting for them to connect to themselves. A lot of those religious messages are designed for you to hear and join them. Period. I have nothing for you to join in terms of a church. My Patreon community is just a community where I speak in terms of the question. I speak or others speak, and we connect on a level of our own intuition, of our own progress, of our own deconstructing. Most institutions and systems don't want you to question things and disagree with what you questioned, or disagree with what was answered from the question you had. You are wrong. You got to get back to the scriptures. You are wrong. You got to get back to this. Or you are wrong. You got to get back to that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to ask that yet, because you're tapping into something that may take you somewhere, right? That's where we get into the fear. That's where we get into, we get into fear. And then whenever they do it amongst their people, they want to shame you. And I'm not just talking about religious institutions. I'm talking about you deciding that you want to write a book, or you deciding that you want to make a movie, or you deciding that you want to change, you want to deconstruct your religious belief systems, and you want to coming to the knowing or understanding and the peace that the true peace that passes under, the understanding, the the connection that surpasses understanding. That's what it was, Tia. Having that inner peace and that inner healing. And what it comes to, y'all, that's what it comes to. Hands down. All of this comes down to healing. Healing. Why are you here? You're here to heal. You're here to heal yourself, and you're here to help others heal. And you can't help others heal unless you learn to heal yourself. And you say, what are you talking about? Heal yourself. I'm talking about the traumas. I'm talking about the disappointments. I'm talking about the time and the discouragement, whether it be your age or whatever else that you haven't completed and you haven't done this, you haven't did that. Your age, and you're feeling like by the time I'm 25, I'm supposed to do this and I'm supposed to do that, and I don't have this. I haven't arrived to that. I haven't done this, right? Every last one of us need healing. It's part of it. And then the question is, how do we heal? How do we heal? There's a lot of things that I've talked about and discussed. But one thing for sure, I'm going to tell you how one way you can definitely heal is by coming into an understanding. As above, so below. Go within or go without. There are principles that have been spoken by many leaders and teachers over the centuries. And a lot of that information, esoteric, uncommon, only meant for certain groups of people, it seems. And a lot of those people were people that would go against the grain. You've gone against the grain. You're a person that go against the grain. You've gone against the grain. And I know some people that tap in and tune to me are a part of all kinds of different systems and institutions that have been established. And there is no shame. I have zero shame at all. There's no guilt. What you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're supposed to do something else, you're going to change. And if you don't change from what you've been doing, then you have to keep going with what you're doing. And a lot of people can be living in that guilt, fear, and shame because it's probably in your best interest, evidently, amongst the friends and family and people you have. I'm here to openly, unequivocally, not denounce, but just to affirm my own personal decisions in that I have not, being a member or publicly attended a church as a member for 10 years, 2015. It was a political driven church that I didn't even understand it was politically driven, but I knew something was off. I knew something. I just did not feel something about it. A lot of politics and what they felt that, God was doing in the church, and God was the church and the government, and the government should belong to God. And all that stuff was talking about belonging to man And a lot of that stuff is talking about man having power over other people, right? And we just want to sugarcoat that with a flag, right? Or we want to sugarcoat the cross, wrap it in a flag. We just want to make you believe and feel that this is what's real. And if you don't believe it, we're gonna come against you and we're gonna come for you, right? I'm here to tell you, you know what? I understand that can be a difficult pill to swallow, and not only that, that can be a lifetime of you doing what you've been doing. And guess what? You ain't going nowhere. It's hard to go anywhere. And I'm not telling you you should. I'm just telling you this one thing for sure. When you ask the question, why am I here? And you can't look around and look at the notes you've taken. You can't look around and see what you've been encouraged with. You can't look around and see that I'm fulfilling my personal desires in that I'm here to teach. I'm here to explore. I'm here to contemplate my being. I'm here to help others discover their divine, authentic self. Do you know how powerful that is? When you learn to let go, allow, go within, meditate, true meditate. I'm not talking about meditative. I'm not talking about doing meditative things. There are things you can do meditative and it can help you. Meditative in terms of walking meditation or meditative practices, mow the lawn or do lawn work. That could be meditative. And you can actually enter into a space that feels good physically. But what I'm talking about is tapping in, tuning in. Hold on. These things I have wasps coming into my fireplace, and it's all the way at the top of my fireplace that I have to have. There's got to be a nest, and they are somehow making their way through the fireplace and coming through my doors. Oh well, we'll deal with it. But learning how to meditate is one of the most important things you can do. There's different levels. I would call them levels. There's different because it's like one level of being quiet and being within nothing and just like going. And when you say go within, that means your brain and mind is shutting down the outside noises and you're feeling the inside of your body. Mindfulness, you're feeling your feet, you're feeling your legs, and you're moving up and you're just practicing making your brain go into more of what's going on within you. That's a meditative practice. That is a mindfulness practice. And meditation is when you begin to focus on the heart and you're focusing on the frequency and vibrations in your body. And it's like the things you don't want, you see that it's leaving and going. And the things that you feel like you want, which is love, you feel that love coming in that is already in. You feel it and you feel that love coming out. And feel that love that's within, right? And you get into that vibration. And as you get into that practice, right? You get into that practice, you do this daily, you get into that practice. That's like a muscle and you're exercising that muscle, right? And it's your brain. And what you got to do is where so much that you're being bombarded with and coming to you, that you can't think for yourself. This person said this person said that. You watch the TV, you're watching, you're scrolling on your phone, and you can't think for yourself. Can't think for yourself. And then whenever you start trying to think those thoughts, all this information that you've been bombarded with, that's all that's in your head. You have to learn to let go, push out and know that you are okay. You are loved because you are love. Isn't it amazing to know that we are the equivalency of a star? You ever think about that? Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon. You are equivalent to a star. How is it that you are equivalent to a star and you're not allowed to shine bright? You're equivalent to a star and you're not allowed to discover more about the divine within you and your ability to connect to things around you, your ability to manifest, your ability to vibrate a frequency that brings things into your life. You can't get to where you want to or discover more of your divine authentic self because you're not vibrating or operating at the frequency in which that is. That's a whole nother portion, how to vibrate and get into the frequency of your divine self and bringing that in. There's a lot you got to let go. There's a lot you have to understand that this was what mama did, this was what daddy did, and this is what grandma did, and this is what the community did. And you got to learn how to be able to cipher. You have to sift. You have to learn how to sift and pull out these things. And not only that, if you sift and pull out these things, you got to be able to tune into the thoughts that are in your head that are coming in. I can't let that negative thought in. That's why it's important not to be sitting back watching 24-hour news. Do not be sitting back watching 24-hour news. Do not be sit back scrolling on your phone. One of the most harshest things you can do to your energy and to your body is to sit back and scroll on your phone all day. And I'm not speaking to you as an innocent player in this game. I know it. I could feel it, and I've done it. All right. It's close to 10 o'clock. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Next week, we're going to have a guest. It's going to be beautiful. I want to make sure we try to get 20, 30 people in there, right? To come and have this discussion, this conversation. He's a beautiful soul. He's been doing for many years. He's been doing astrology. He knows a lot about this occult knowledge, metaphysics, spiritual principles that can help elevate who you are. And there's nothing new. There's nothing new about what I'm talking about, y'all. The only thing that has changed is that within this era and time is our ability to actually access this information, just sift through this information, use this information to empower us. You can be empowered to do more than you can imagine. Ancestors did not necessarily have the ability and access that we have to do things that we can do. From the perspective of when I look back, there's people that did, don't get it wrong. There's people that did do things that we can't understand. Like, how do you do that during that time? But I'm here to tell you, you are here right now and you have the ability to actually to actually do something completely 100% amazing. Amazing for you. You're dreaming too small. If whatever you are looking to accomplish or do and doesn't make you nervous, then it might be dreaming too small. Just a little bit. Oh, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? All right. Go within. And as I'm going within, I'm asking the questions like, so I have visions of films, I have visions of books. What would that author be? What would that author be doing if I'm an author? What would that filmmaker be doing what would that millionaire be doing if you are a millionaire, if you will? If you are whatever it is, are you doing what you are calling yourself to be or looking to manifest? Are you practicing that? I think you are a little bit because you're watching me. You're going to get what you're going to get. Let's check some of these comments. Don't forget, I'm going to put this banner on here, y'all. There's the Patreon. Deidre is going to be there on Sunday. She's going to be there on Sunday. I will be traveling, but she will be there on Sunday. So if y'all, whoever's in the Patreon, make sure you join the Patreon. She will have all of the Zoom information inside Patreon on Sunday. I believe it's at 9:30 Eastern Central, 10:30 Eastern. There is the Patreon. Make sure you go to that Patreon. You can also hit up MalachiGross.com and you can get access to the Patreon from MalachiGross.com. And there's the Cash App, and let's see here. I wanted to go to the comments real quick. Holly, thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Holly. I would like to give a shout out and thank my brother Cortland Davis for tapping in. I will definitely thank you so much. You had some great comments. Brother Christopher, I appreciate you for all that you do and your wonderful comments yourself, sir. You're a brother from another mother. Miss Velma, you're awesome. Mother, you can look at the news. Just don't throw stuff at the TV, right? Don't go smack somebody, make sure you pay. I used to talk to Bishop all the time and he would be on the news, looking at the news. Miss Gwen, thank you so much for being here. You are so awesome. I see Tia, and Tia's here. Phyllis, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Miss Dolores, you are awesome. Yes, y'all. If there's anything that you would like, I want to make sure you know that if there is anything you would like for me to discuss or talk about too, I want to make sure I open up the platform. If there's anything that you are interested in and what I have going on, we do have next year we will have a retreat in March. We'll get some more information about that. And if there's any topic or anything that you guys are interested in or things that you're working on, make sure you can DM myself on Facebook. You can DM definitely Deidre. That's direct message on Facebook. You can just send her a message or send me a message. She can get those messages. Tia might be able to get them on TikTok. So, we're trying to cover all bases. And if you get a chance to, don't forget to go check out my Insight Timer. I need to do a commercial for that. Don't forget to check out my Insight Timer. Insight Timer. I have some what are those things called? Meditations. I got some meditations on there. So, all right, y'all. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. All right. Have a good one. Be sure to join us on Patreon, where we have exclusive content and exclusive meetings for our special guests.
was raised in the echoes of sermons and signs. Told who I was, what to believe, how to walk the line. Kneeled at the altar, searching for grace. But all I found was fear wrapped up in faith. But something deep inside kept calling me. A whisper in the dark said you are free. Not in the rules, not in the chains, but in the love that calls my name. Learning to love myself, trust myself, even when I think I'm wrong. Learning to be set free, learning to be, learning just to be. No longer bound by the weight of my past. Took off the guilt, let it burn in the ash. I don't need permission to stand in the light. God ain't a place, God is inside. God is inside. Something deep inside keeps calling me. A whisper in the dark says you are free. Not in the rules, not in the chains, but in the love that knows my name. Learning to love myself, trust myself, even when I think I'm wrong. Learning to be set free, learning to be, learning just to be. Deep inside keeps calling me. A whisper in the dark says you are free. Not in the rules, not in the chains, but in the love that knows my name. Learning to love myself, trust myself, even when I think I'm wrong. Learning to be set free, learning to be, learning to love myself, trust myself, even when I think I'm wrong. Learning to be set free, learning to be, learning just to be.